Aggie fans, welcome. It is game day for the Aggies. It is championship Saturday of college football. And for the first time in 9 years, the Aggies are a part of the day. The Aggies again playing San Diego State today. And our game day in before the game, also brought to you by West Point Dairy and also ChemDry of Northern Utah.
And it's time for KVNU Game Day, sponsored by Alpine Home Medical, Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, Les Olson Company, Jarek's Fine Jewelry, My Mattress, Elements Restaurant, Cache Valley Bank, Daryl's Appliance, Advanced Fireplace and Stove, Cache Valley Ear, Nose and Throat, White Pine Funeral Home, S.E. Needham Jewelers, Cache Valley Bank Mortgage, Castelite, and LSS Insurance. Now, to break down the game, here's the longtime voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis.
And that's right. When you are a part of a team, your number one goal has to be win the championship. And today, our team gets that opportunity to do exactly that. Now, let's be honest. Utah State were a mere blip on the Mountain West title radar before this 2021 season. But it has been so great to see our Utah State Aggies be at 9-3. Again, there's only been 3 Aggie teams that have ever won more after the abyss of last season. New coach Blake Anderson. He has been and done exactly what our football program needed. And he says, more importantly, to face the Aztecs of San Diego State today for the championship, the players have changed. They've trained. They have worked. They have prepared, and they have executed to be here.
We don't want to be satisfied with being there. We want to find a way to win it. These opportunities are rare, and considering what we've come through and what has happened here the last year and a half, 2 years, we feel very fortunate to be in this game, and we want to maximize every ounce of it and find a way to win this game. So that's going to be the goal all week.
Coach Anderson, the only new coach with 9 wins in college football, 100 games coached now. He's won 60 of them. And all of us know it is a challenge today inside Dignity Health Sports Park in Carson, California for the Aggies. They are the underdog, about 6 points, but they've been there before. And Nick Henniger?
And, we play with the chip on our shoulder, and I like that. Honestly, I think we perform best with the chip on our shoulder. Everybody doubts us, and at the beginning of the season, nobody believed in us but us. And I still feel like at the end of the day, right now where we're at, that's still staying true. So that's all we need, and that's how I like it.
And actually, again, that chip began at Washington State for the Aggies. 6-0 on the road this year. Only Cincinnati, Houston have been undefeated 6-0 on the road this year. Factually, we can say the Aztecs of San Diego were not also expected to be in this title game today, either in the preseason. But they have ridden this great defense and, of course, a great kicker to, again, this conference championship game against the Aggies today. Their head man is Brady Hoke.
You know, I like our team. I like how our team stayed together. We fought and offensively, defensively, and then I think, the kicking game has been such a big point for us, and what Matt's been able to do from field positions.
Matt Ariza, we'll talk a lot about him today, their kicker. 115 miles from their campus is where San Diego State plays this home game today. The Dignity Health Sports Park has been the best place for them to play home games the last 2 years, as their new $310 million Aztec Stadium is being built back in Mission Valley of San Diego. So let's get to breaking it all down. Craig Hislop is here, and lots of comments from players and coaches and all of the facts and keys on your local radio home for the best coverage where you can hear what's going on before and after every game. It is our KVNU Aggie Game Day, Championship Game Day, and the game will be on Fox again today. So Channel 13 will have the game, again, right at the top of the hour at 1 o'clock. So, hi, everybody, here, Al Lewis, and we have had quite a fun ride, haven't we, with the Utah State season to get to today. Again, we are at the big game. The Aggie team earned this spot, and they are excited.
Super excited, super happy for this team. I'm super blessed to be surrounded by great men and some great leaders, some great brothers of mine, right? This is my football family, and just super, super excited to go play this Saturday with them.
Today for a championship, then, attempting to get their first ever in 9 years, part of this Mountain West Conference, and to really stand alone, Craig, as the conference champions is kind of a rare situation in Aggie history.
Yeah, we've had a lot, 100-plus years of football, and it's happened 3 times. 2012 in the WAC, of course, when Gary was at his best, and then took off for Wisconsin. 1936 and 1921 in the Rocky Mountain Athletic Conference. Another couple of times. So Aggies are going after their 4th one ever. They have shared 8 conference titles, the most recent of which happened in 1997 under John L. Smith. This one is the Aggies' second appearance in this Mountain West Conference Championship game. That game in Matt Wells' first season as head coach was the inaugural Mountain West Championship game in 2013. They lost to Fresno State.
So you just told us the first game. So let's get a little history lesson about this title game. Remind us of who has played and who has won in this championship contest.
Okay, 2013, I just mentioned, Bulldogs beat the Aggies. That was at Fresno State, 24-17. The next year, Fresno State was in it again, but Boise State beat them. That was 2014. 2015, San Diego State started 2 years back-to-back and beat Air Force 27-24. And then the next year beat Wyoming in Laramie, the same score, 27-24. And then Fresno State's back in the title game, and Boise State's up against them, and Boise State won that one in a close one. And 2018, Fresno State comes back to beat Boise State. And then Boise State's there again in 2019, 31-10 over Hawaii. Last year's game, San Jose State beats Boise State 34-20. Fresno State's been in there 4 times. Boise State's been in there 5 times. Nobody else has had more than one except San Diego State. So the West Division winner has won the title 5 times, the title game. San Diego State is playing in their 3rd ever title game, and they are 2-0, as I said. The Mountain Division winner has gone on to win the championship 3 times. All 3 of those belong to Boise State, which makes them 3-2 then in those championship games. More championship trivia: 4 schools have never played in the Mountain West Championship game, and they are Nevada, New Mexico, Colorado State, and UNLV.
And San Diego State's been there before, but this year they got back.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was very stressful last year. I mean, every week, you weren't very confident whether you're going to get your game or not. Luckily for us, we got the majority of them. We played 8 games, which was a lot more than other people, had. And so we're very thankful for that. But I mean, like I said, again, it was very stressful. There were so many outside forces, that were just turned into distractions. And this year, we don't have any of that. And I think, we before the season, we weren't ranked, the number 1 team in this conference. And, I think that really bothered a lot of us. And this year we just kept our heads down and played, and it showed.
So they built from last year, 4-4, into this year. Actually, the Aztecs, Craig, were 3rd choice in the division going into the season. Nevada, who ended up again at 5-3, 8-4 overall, were the favorites, and they ended 3rd this year. The defending champion San Jose were picked 2nd, and they ended up at 3-5 and 5-7, so they tied for 4. And of course, we know the Aggie story. 5th place, barely ahead of New Mexico, again in this Mountain Division, behind a bunch of teams going into this year, and look where the Aggies have ended up.
Yeah, finished tied for the Mountain Division title, both with overall records. I think the Aggies were 9-3 and 6-2 in league games. Now, remember last year the Aggies wound up, as you said, 1-5. But when you compare that to this 9-3 record, Blake Anderson's first year, it turns out to be an 8-game improvement in one season, and that ties the Aggies with Michigan as the second most improved college football teams of 2021. There are 29 teams that have won 9 games this season. The Aggies are one of those across the country. They roared out to the 3-0 start, comeback wins over Washington State, North Dakota, and Air Force. In fact, September 18th game at the Air Force, which the Aggies won 49-45, one of the most exciting games of the year, and that served as the tiebreaker that sent Utah State into this league championship game when they won that at Air Force. That was followed by back-to-back losses to Boise State and BYU, and then 5 wins in a row: UNLV, Colorado State, Hawaii, New Mexico State, and San Jose State. And then Wyoming comes into Logan and trips the Aggies up. That set up a game that the Aggies had to win and did at New Mexico, 35-10, on the same day that San Diego State rallied to beat Boise State. So that opened the door to the division championship for the Aggies. Maybe the most memorable of all the numbers we dealt with in this college football season was 6. The Aggies playing in 6 games away from home, winning every one of those, school record, and then their 6 double-figure comeback wins in one season. You never see that, you did this year.
Those were the season signatures for sure. So, okay, that's the Aggie season. Let's get a short synopsis of what San Diego State Aztecs have done this year. This is their first 11-victory regular season in their 99 years. 11-1 overall, 7-1 in the Mountain West. Number 19 in the college football playoff rankings going to this week. Incidentally, against rated teams, Aggies are 5-63 all time, we should mention. And they did lose to number 13 BYU earlier this year. What about the Aztecs and the Aggies?
First of all, you look at common opponents with the Aztecs and the Aggies. Both the Aggies and the Aztecs beat New Mexico State. They both defeated New Mexico. Aztecs beat San Jose State in 2 overtimes. Aggies kind of tagged the Spartans 48-17. San Diego State beat Air Force and Hawaii. Their Air Force score was just 17-10. The Aggies also beat the Falcons and the Rainbow Warriors. Also, like the Aggies, San Diego State earned a 28-20 win over UNLV. USU's score against UNLV was 28-24. Aggies whipped Boise State 27-16. Aztecs beat Boise State. Aggies lost to Boise State 27-3. So, and then an impressive win for San Diego State this year, obviously, was their victory in 2 overtimes over the Utes, 33-31. So here's San Diego State, 6 wins, no losses at home, up against an Aggie team that's won all 6 of its games on the road. So something's got to give there. And also in at least one category, these Aztecs are the best in America, and that is in their record of 6-0 in games decided by the difference of 1 score or less. In tight games, they won them all. The Aggies are 4-0 in 1-score football games.
And speaking of who they're best at in the entire country, there's no doubt their punter, Matt Ariza, is probably the best in the nation. And Blake Anderson wanted to say,
you see him on film. I mean, he flips the field in one play. Now, I hope he's working a lot. I hope he's kicking a lot, punting lots of balls. I mean, that means we're doing well. So that's the first challenge, is to make him put him out there, is to be able to slow them down. But he has shown the ability to punt out of his own end zone and pin you inside the 10. That's a weapon that not many have. They've utilized him very well to make the long field goal, kick the ball out of the end zone. I would think it'd be really, really hard to, we'd be shocked if Scarborough gets a chance to return the ball this week. So that's a weapon that they've recruited and utilizing very, very well. And we're going to have to try to minimize that as best we can when opportunities present themselves, but that'll be a challenge.
So obviously the standouts for San Diego State, Craig, start with their kicker, punter, kickoff guy in Ariza.
Yeah, he is elite. He's managed to, as the coach said, flip the field basically in every one of their games week after week. He's the nation's top punter, 51.5 yards a kick, 18 punts over 60 yards, 6 punts over 70 yards. And to me, at the top of the list as a factor in a game, anytime a punter can do that, you just have an advantage that's hard to beat. Now, their offense is 110th in the country, pretty average. They've got a guy named Greg Bell running the ball, and he's had 940 yards. Their defense, 11th best in the country. Patrick McMorris is a junior safety. He intercepted 2 passes last week in the big win over Boise State. He is their season leader in solo tackles, with 48, total tackles 79. And then they got a defensive end, Cameron Thomas, number 2 in total tackles, but the team leader with 15 tackles for loss, 12 sacks. He carries the second best defensive rating of all of the college football players. Really good. Their statistical oddity, to me, when you look at it, they hold just about everybody on their schedule to total offensive numbers below that team's season average per game. For example, Air Force outgained them 259 to 229, but the Aztecs won the game. In 7 games like that, the opponent outgunning the Aztecs in numbers, they won those games. The Aztecs were 6-1 in those games. The other thing in this game, they do dominate in the third quarter. It's kind of unusual. 109 to 34, outscoring opponents in that third quarter.
And that's right. And again, we know what the Aggies have to do. If the Aggies are going to win the game, they're going to have to be explosive with the pass game that we've seen this year. They get a real test today. Now, it's interesting. Brady Hoke, though, thinks that they're going up against the guy that might be the best playmaker in the league, and Devin Tompkins.
He's got a great feel for getting open. I think he's got really good change direction and speed, really disciplined in routes, and very good hands, obviously. I think he's probably as tough a guy there is that we're going to have to line up against and do our best.
So Hoke talking about Devin Tompkins, DT, who, again, we talk about their national leader. He's our national leader in stats.
Yeah. Now, here's a guy who had a couple of relatively quiet games at the end of the year. But this is Devin I'm talking about. But the Aggies are going to have him return to the level of play we saw him all season doing. He was basically unstoppable. He did have 10 catches for 102 yards the last couple of weeks. But on a big stage like this, the Aggie fans are expecting his best. And looking at his numbers, he comes into this game as the national leader in receiving yards a game. 12 games he comes in with 87 catches, 1,534 yards receiving, 9 touchdown catches, all great numbers. Logan Bonner, the quarterback, is 1 touchdown away from the school record of 32 scoring throws that right now he and the Packers, Jordan Love, have 31 each. 228 of 377. Over 60% completions just about every game. Almost 3,300 passing yards this season. His longest scoring pass, by the way, this year, 76-yarder that he kind of just dropped into Derek Wright's hands in New Mexico. That leaves Wright, by the way, with 10 scores in his 39 catches. The Aggies are going to need something strong in the running game, and Calvin Tyler's given them 3 different 100-yard plus running games against Air Force, Boise State, and Wyoming. 1 more in triple digits. It's really going to help the cause against this defense. And obviously, overall, the Aggies at about 450 yards of total offense a game. The Aggies are 16th in the nation in that category. They're 15th in passing offense at over 300 yards throwing the ball a game. 81st in total defense, giving up about 400 yards a game. The Aggies defensively, however, 3rd in the nation in tackles for loss per game. Their individual tackles leader of the course of the season was a guy that was celebrated at the start of the year and delivered. Linebacker Justin Rice, currently the Aggies' leading tackler and 28th in the nation. And USU's rush defense has broken down at times, and that's been a problem. Opponents have ripped up some longer explosives running the ball, 19 of them actually in over the years, 6 of those in the Air Force game, by the way, September 18th. They really can't let that happen in this game.
And that's exactly what Justin Rice told me earlier in the week, that the real key is to not have one of those kind of rush defensive games.
That's been a big point of emphasis the last couple of weeks, and we know that in order to win this game, we need to be on our best in that category, and that's going to be a huge point of emphasis this week.
Guy who played, of course, at Fresno State against San Diego State before. Now he plays against them in this championship game. So it seems to be the classic struggle today, Craig. Aztecs defense against the Aggie offense. Craig, how do you see this game going for the Aggies to have a chance?
Well, we talked about the Aztecs record. They've won 11 of 12. Against the best opponents, they win, but not by huge margins, because I don't think it's because they don't have an offense built like that. So Utah State belongs in the discussion of the Mountain West best, along with Nevada and Air Force and Boise State and Fresno State. These are teams that San Diego State beat in close games, except they did lose to Fresno State. It was a 10-point game. 8-game history of this annual Mountain West Conference Championship, it's almost always a close game. This will be a close game if the Aggies don't let this 110th rated offense break off those big plays. So then the question is, how much damage can the Aggies do to this 11th best defense in the country? And that's where I've got some questions. Aggie offense will have its moments. I don't know if it's enough of them to win, but because it'll be a close game, they'll keep playing. That's their MO. They don't quit. Maybe something could happen.
And that's where the Ariza factor, there's Ariza kicking the ball and flipping the field. I think the Aggies, you mentioned it earlier, I think they've got to rush for at least 100 yards to get the San Diego State defense off their back as far as just playing one-dimensional against the pass. Lately, the Aztecs have kind of had to go to the passing game, so I worry a little bit about, obviously, the Aggie rush defense, but all of a sudden, here's receiver Jesse Matthews, who could make a big catch in this game. Utah State probably doesn't win if it's a low-scoring, struggling game. So I think the Aggies have to get close to the 30-point mark. Can they get there? And I don't know if they can to win this Mountain West title. Our segment with Craig Pregame brought to you by My Mattress. Ryan and Travis Lenhart started My Mattress back in 2009. His two brothers committed to better sleep, and they have followed through for 12 years now. 981 South Main, the best in sleep, My Mattress. All right, the Aztecs are a 6-point favorite today in the game. Over and under is like 49.5. So they figured like 29-23 games, something like that, 29-22. It's on Fox again, Channel 13 at 1. So before kickoff, we have the three leaders from the Aggies we'll be hearing from, Justin Rice and Nick Henniger, and also Logan Bonner, the Aggie quarterback.
I mean, that's what the hard work we put in. That's the whole offense we brought in with Coach Tuck and everybody, and that's what we wanted to do. And I think that some spots we've had trouble, but we know we can be explosive, and that's what we try to do, and that's what we've been working on all year. So I think that it's really nice when it comes together
on Saturday or Friday or whenever, and they got to be explosive today. Meantime, Coach of the Year, Brady Hoke, we'll hear more from him. Matt Ariza, this guy who, again, just a terrific kicker.
I just focus on making every punt a good one. But the weather does come into play a little bit. Sometimes elevation is nice, but if it comes with cold, sometimes it's better to be at sea level. I've always believed in myself, but actually going out there and doing it is a whole new thing.
And again, we'll also hear from Coach Blake Anders, who should have been the Coach of the Year in the conference. To set up Utah State, San Diego State, and really they're at the home of the LA Galaxy, the MLS soccer team in Carson, California. Isn't there irony in this? Aggies are on the road, and they actually would have, from when they landed in LA, a shorter bus ride to the game than the home team. It's kind of weird, isn't it? We'll be back with more at Game Day on KVNU.
Happy holidays from Birch Creek Golf Course. For your golfer this Christmas, I invite you to visit birchcreekgolf.com. Birch Creek's online store offers punch passes that are on sale at the spring sale price, as well as driving range passes and discounted golf lessons from our PGA teaching staff. So for your golfer this Christmas, I invite you to visit birchcreekgolf.com and enjoy Birch Creek's virtual online store. And happy holidays from your friends at Birch Creek.
Today's hearing aid technology can improve not only your life, but the lives of the people who care about you. Once again, you'll be able to hear the reason for their laughter and understand conversations. Dr. Paul Danes will customize a hearing improvement program to meet your unique requirements, whatever they are. Call Dr. Danes for an appointment at 753-HERE and let him show you how.
Bring back what you've been missing. Bring back Cache Valley Hearing and Audiology.
Okay, Charlie, you ready to pick the perfect Christmas tree?
Look at all the trees. What about this one? It's so big.
Maybe a little too big, but let's keep looking.
Oh, I love the smell. Their trees are always so fresh.
Our presents will be perfect under this tree.
Oh, Charlie, it's perfect.
And so is the price.
New location, same amazing service. Merrill Family Holiday Sales, just north of Cott's Honeyland on Highway 8991. Make Christmas real again at Merrill Family Holiday Sales.
Did you know that insurance companies compensate homeowners for storm damage to their roofs? This is David with Roof Rescue. It's hard to see the extent of roof damage from the ground. Rather than evaluate the roof yourself, schedule a free consultation with a roof rescue specialist. We'll take the time to assess, explain, and work out financial obligations with your insurance. Financing available with approved credit. Google Roof Rescue or visit roofrescueusa.com. Roof Rescue, providing watertight peace of mind.
Experts tell us that the three areas of balance for proper health are exercise, nutrition, and sleep. This is Ryan, owner of My Mattress, and while My Mattress Store can't really help with exercise and nutrition, we can help with better sleep. If a person started today to live a balanced life in health, exercise, and sleep, three things might happen. One, we might throw away the bag of peanut M&Ms that we have stashed. Two, we might get up off the couch and exercise. And three, we'd come buy a new mattress here at My Mattress.
We've gone through a lot, and the passion and the drive to get us to where we're at. We're trying to finish our book off the right way, and we know that it's in our control, right?
That Aggie book for Nick Henniger, Chapter 1, was kind of an okay season. His first-year transfer here from Utah. Chapter number 2, of course, the disaster of last year, and now third chapter today can be one of the best chapters ever in Aggie history. You know, after a fall football season we had last year in the Mountain West, we finally had a regular full season, so the postseason honors, I think, do mean something this year. The Aztecs won the Western Division, and they deserve to have Matt Ariza be the Special Teams Player of the Year, maybe the best punter in all of college football. Plus, he had 16 field goals, and he talked to us on Tuesday.
We're all super excited to play for the championship game. It's been our goal for a while here.
Matt, you've played at all different sea levels and elevations here in the Mountain West, and it's always talked about between the Mountain and the West schools. But when it comes to your punting, it doesn't seem like that matters no matter where you are. Have you seen a difference in the Mountain schools compared to the West schools, or do you just focus on the task at hand?
I just focus on making every punt a good one. But the weather does come into play a little bit. Sometimes elevation is nice, but if it comes with cold, sometimes it's better to be at sea level.
You bet. First of all, what has it been like for you to go from making, I believe it was just 5 punts last year, to doing what you're doing this year?
It's been a lot of fun. I'm a lot more involved, so games are a little bit more meaningful. I get to spend more time out there, so I've been enjoying it.
Why and how are you able to do what no one else has been able to do?
A lot of work in the off season. We have a great strength and conditioning program here, which our specialists are a complete part of. We don't get any breaks basically to do something that the rest of the team doesn't do. So I would put all that on our strength and conditioning program.
Did you think that you were going to be this good, or has your success surprised even you?
I've always believed in myself, but actually going out there and doing it is a whole new thing.
Going to set a national record if he keeps his stats where it is right now. Matt Ariza, their punter, we talked to him. That was our media exchange with him on Tuesday. We had some other questions, obviously. And their defensive lineman, Cameron Thomas, is the Defensive Player of the Year. He is the Mountain West sack leader. He's 7th in the nation. But over on the offensive side, Player of the Year, the coaches and whatever media voted selected Carson Strong of Nevada as the winner for the second straight year. And he's good. He threw for over 4,000 yards. Although his team was third in the division. And USU's Grandmaster T, we're talking Devin Tompkins, led the nation and was on the top team in the Mountain Division. Now, we feel that he deserved to be the Offensive Player of the Year. At least first team in conference, though, was no surprise to Coach Blake Anderson with the kind of receivers we have in our league.
If you saw the way the guy worked every day, everybody sees the plays he makes on the field, but the way he works on a daily basis, has done that since day one of coming back in January when he chose to rejoin the team and truly be a part of this family. I've never seen him take a day off. He elevates everybody else's game, and then he is completely accountable for his own game every Saturday, regardless of who and where we're playing. And as many catches and plays as he's made, he's one of the most unselfish guys that you'll find, which is, our top core value is selfless. So, he definitely deserves it. There's a lot of great players, but he's earned every accolade that's come his way through tremendous hard work and dedication and consistency on a daily basis. So it doesn't surprise me. I'm proud for him. He's my vote for MVP, to be honest with you, for what he's done.
So Coach got a vote, put him as the Offensive Player of the Year, but it didn't happen. Leads the nation in receiving yards. But yeah, when it comes to the Coach of the Year vote, come on, man. Isn't that what they always say on ESPN? Blake Anderson, a new coach. He comes in from a 1-win team to 9. Nobody has done that better. And he doesn't get it. Now, Brady Hoke, his program has won, though, 2 Mountain West titles in the last 6 years. And they've always been among the conference best. He wins it from the media and coaches. But we think they whiffed a little bit on that deal. But it's not to distract from the job that the former Michigan and Ball State, and before that even San Diego State coach, did do. He's done 28-7 in 4 years with the Aztecs. So does this add a little more juice to do that to the coach and to do that to DT, to the Aggies going into this game? Again, let's go back to Nick Henniger.
You don't need a ton of motivation for this game, I feel like, outside of what the game already brings. It's a championship game. This is why we work all year. And definitely wish some more guys would have been recognized. Wish our head coach would have been recognized. He wouldn't say it. I'll say it for him. He's done a great job, phenomenal job, getting this program from a 1-win season to the championship game. And I can tell you, just without even looking at the stats or history of that, that is extremely rare. And he's done a great job. He's been a great leader for us.
San Diego State Aztecs ended up with 8 on the first team, and they had there were 2 offensive linemen, Zachary Thomas, William Dunkel. We'll talk a little bit more about him later on. And then Thomas, and then the linebacker, Caden McDonald, and then defensive backs that Craig mentioned, Patrick Morris, and then Trenton Thompson, and then the punter, Ariza. Again, they also had 4 more on the second team. So they had 12 on the 2 teams. Aggies had 3. We had Devin on the first team, and then we had Justin Rice and Savon Scarver made the second team. New Mexico only got honorable mentions. UNLV had 1 first-teamer, and that was the running back Charles Williams, and then a second-teamer. So they had less than the Aggies overall. But San Diego State had 12, Boise State had 8, Nevada had 6 on their the 2 teams before honorable mentions. The Aggies' honorable mentions were Henniger, Alfred Edwards, Quazell White, Shaq Bond, Derek Wright, Jordan Nathan. So it's a total of 6 for the Aggies. Again, the conference mentions on that list, so 9 total from Utah State. We're on KVNU Logan with our game day coverage of the Aggies and San Diego State game starting here at 1 o'clock on Fox Sports Network. Now, we heard from a lot of those guys on that list a few minutes ago that were all conference during the year with our very entertaining Know Your Aggies feature with Eric Franson, who will join us again after the game. And we hope your probing questions and texts will come in, and we'll talk about a championship installment of the Aggies winning the game. But how about a championship installment of Know Your Aggies? Philip Paya, transferred here from Michigan.
Getting to know our Aggies, Philip Paya on the defensive front, and there are no wrong answers, okay? It's just whatever comes to your mind.
All right.
Okay. What's your favorite video game?
Oh, my favorite video games? Halo, definitely.
You didn't even hesitate.
Yeah, Halo, for sure. They kind of been slacking a little bit, but, growing up, I was been a big Halo fan.
Fair enough. If you had to kick a 25-yard field goal to win the game, would you make it?
100%. No doubt. I'm booing that thing. At least 20 extra yards.
You have any experience ever doing a kick?
Yeah, I actually used to kick field goals middle school and a little bit freshman, sophomore year high school.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
If you didn't have to sleep, what would you do in your spare time?
Video games. Yeah, definitely video games.
More Halo.
Yeah, more Halo.
What are the games you like to play?
I play a lot of Call of Duty, just first-person shooter games, stuff like that. When it comes to sport games, I'm not that guy.
And what job would you be terrible at?
Math teacher. Math teacher, 100% math teacher.
Math is not your strong suit.
Not at all.
I'm with you there. Yeah. Last question. What would be the most amazing adventure for you to go on?
A trip to the moon.
Really?
Yeah. Just a trip into space. Yeah.
Space.
Yeah.
Those are becoming more readily available, apparently.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, Philip Paya, maybe future astronaut. Thanks. Thanks for your time.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good one.
That Know Your Aggies feature on Game Day on KVNU, Championship Game Day, brought to you by Cache Valley Bank, expanding, growing with their roots planted firmly in the valley, and now Preston, of course, an exciting new addition. Next on our Aggie Game Day. The highlight matchup is USU's offense against the Aztec defense. So what about the opposite sides of the ball against one another? We'll look at that next as we continue Game Day on KVNU.
Old McDarrell has a farm and appliance farm.
This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. Why do Santa and Mrs. Claus shop at Daryl's Appliance? It's easy. Daryl's has the best discounts on Whirlpool, Maytag, and KitchenAid laundry and kitchen appliances. Get the best price guaranteed. Don't forget our no-risk warranty and feel the Daryl's difference because service always comes first. Daryl's West on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
See Daryl's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
Santa's sleigh carries lots of toys for girls and boys, but it's not quite big enough to fit a real building. Northern Steel Buildings can build you that custom building you've always wanted in a timely fashion. They specialize in custom buildings from commercial, industry, warehousing, shop, agriculture, and aviation that's built to last. Schedule a free consultation at northernsteelbuilding.com. That's northernsteelbuilding.com, or call them at 435-677-7300. That's 677-7300. Value from concept to construction.
I'm here with Jay Broadbent from Alpine Home Medical. Jay, I hear your ads for CPAP resupply all the time. What do I need to do to just get that taken care of?
It's easy. We can set up your CPAP resupply within a few minutes. We'll work out all the insurance for you, and then we'll start mailing the supplies straight to your door. You can even chat with a CPAP specialist online. Just visit us at alpinehomemedical.com. We'll have you sleeping better in no time.
Alpine Home Medical, we bring wellness home.
It's back. Jarek's Fine Jewelry in Logan is having our annual Pick a Pearl event. If you've attended this in the past, you know how much fun we have. And if you haven't come before, you don't want to miss this exciting event. For only $10, pick your oyster, open it that day, or save it for that stocking stuffer surprise.
Mark your calendar, Friday and Saturday, December 10th and 11th. Pick a pearl at Jarek's Fine Jewelry, 930 North Main. Just look for the bright green cars.
Jarek's Fine Jewelry. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
KVNU Game Day returns with the voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis.
They create a lot of havoc and chaos, and when you watch what they do defensively.
Let's hope that we can have a disruptive and a lot of chaos Aggie defense today in this Mountain West Championship game. Again, 1 o'clock on Fox 13 here. At halftime, Baylor 21, Oklahoma State 6 in the Big 12 Championship game. Oklahoma State has a chance for they thought for maybe the playoffs, but again, a loss like that would not help them. How about Utah last night? What a great win. They just dominated Oregon again. They've done it twice. There's no doubt that Utah's the best team in the Pac-10 this year. And Northern Illinois leads 17-3 over Kent State, third quarter in the championship game of the MAC Conference today. Again, this will be the first game for the Aggies on grass since September 21st of 2019. That was a win against the Aztecs at Qualcomm Stadium. Series actually is 13-2 for San Diego State. The Aggies have gone 0-5 against them at home. The new stadium will be in the place of the old Jack Murphy Stadium, that Qualcomm, hopefully by next year, supposed to be next year. San Diego State has had to go 115 miles north to be able to play their home games at this home of the LA Galaxy in the MLS. Dignity Health Sports Park is where the Chargers also played for a year before they moved into SoFi Stadium. Of course, the winner today goes to SoFi Stadium in the Jimmy Kimmel Bowl game on the 18th of December. They are 6-1 at home, so that's a correction that we have from Craig earlier that I wanted to point out. Craig also had one other correction in the first part of the game day. He wanted to mention that Bonner and Love are both at 32 touchdown passes, looking for a 33rd for Bonner and Moore today. But let's talk about this situation. Cameron Thomas is their veteran defensive end, Conference Player of the Year, playing away from San Diego.
Yeah, I think we did a very good job every week, just keeping our focus on the game, not really worrying about where we're playing or anything like that. Obviously, the driving to LA, it's a little different, and for especially being considered a home game. But this is our second season playing there, so it is starting to feel like home now. Every time we play there, we get more comfortable, and you can see the fan base stuff. The ones that come and stuff like that, it really means a lot to us.
Thomas leads the San Diego State defense, top 10 in almost every category. But can the Aztecs move the ball and score a few times to win it today? They ranked 72nd in points, 110 out of 130 total offensive teams in the country, 51st with the rush, but 121st in the pass. They used Jordan Brookshire in relief last week, and it worked to change a 16-3 deficit to a 27-16 win over Boise State. Lucas Johnson had been the guy who had kind of come in and saved him before, but he had kind of an arm injury for the black and the red going into the game. So what about it today? Blake Anderson, which quarterback would you prefer, or are you ready for both?
Preparing for both. So we've seen both of them play enough to know that we could see either, and obviously the transition in the game. I mean, there's not a bigger game they've played all year than what they played on Friday, and they clearly felt comfortable making the change during the game. So just have to assume that could be the case again this week. I think the one thing about them, they clearly have a little bit different skill sets, but Brady's pretty clear and very upfront about what he wants to do on offense. I mean, he wants to run the ball right at you, find out if you're physical enough to stop it, throw the vertical ball and the back shoulder ball to some big physical wideouts. Regardless of which quarterback is playing, you've got to be able to hold up to those things or you have no chance. So,
yeah, now again, Boise State has been tough to run on. The Aztecs got 118 yards. Running back Greg Bell, Brookshire added most of the big runs, but 290 passing yards against the Broncos. That's what I pointed out to the coach. Seems like number 45, Jesse Matthews, the best guy in their passing game, as they've gone to that more and more.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's because the defense they played and how they've been played. The one thing they are willing to do is if you give them number situations where they feel the need to put it in the air, they're not afraid to. They're just very open about wanting to run the ball and run control the line of scrimmage. But they've got a ton of great plays on the outside. They throw the vertical ball and the back shoulder fade as good as anybody we've seen all year with big physical wideouts. It's a ball that both quarterbacks throw well, and it marries up very well with their run game and what they want to do inside the box creates a lot of stress for you because you're going to end up in some one-on-one situations if you're going to stop the run, and they throw that ball very, very effectively. And to beat them, we're going to have to defend it well.
And they do have at San Diego State 2 offensive linemen, Zachary Thomas and William Dunkel, who made first-team all-conference. It was pointed out to Coach Anderson at the press conference this week that Dunkel was first a Utah State commit a while back. Then he did switch to the Aztecs.
Well, they're long, as we talked about. They're big, long, and they run well. I think it's one of the reasons that they are so good at running the outside zone play. You have to be really athletic on the O-line to be good at running outside zone, and they are. He clearly was committed to these guys well before I got here. I wish he'd have stayed put and was wearing navy and silver, but it is what it is. But I think their length and they got great feet. They are very, very light on their feet for a big group of guys, and the outside zone play becomes extremely difficult to defend when you're that athletic up front, and they've run the ball well against everybody all season long.
So William Dunkel, a guy who was committed to the Aggies playing there. Is the coach giving us an idea? We're wearing the silver and blue today in the game. We'll have to wait and see. Please, not black. We've seen that enough in basketball, football. Okay, got to do something up front from Utah State on that defensive side today. They've been so cold at times against the run. 4 times they've allowed over 200 yards. Of course, we had that one run where we only gave up 73 yards in 3 games, but that was teams not really throwing or running. The national rank is 86 against the run versus the pass. Not a whole lot better, though, except for 3 games. The rank there is 75. So it's the 81st overall defense, 68th scoring defensive team. When we get to, when we got more preseason and then, we looked into things, we didn't allow early in the season as we got going more. We got more pressure going. We got less explosive runs, and we've got to see that here today. Linebacker Justin Rice and the Aggie defense, again, has been coming along lately.
Defense is all about trust and having a bond with other guys. So the more trust you have, the more people can do their job, fly around, knowing that edges are going to be set. People are going to push to where they're supposed to push and pass drop. So once you start seeing people start playing together and trusting the scheme and trusting their teammates, really good things start happening and people start playing a lot better.
And those guys up front, we've seen Henniger and Byron Vaughns and Marcus Moore and Haile Motuapawaka. And then, Rice and AJ and even a Johnny Carter and Cash and Kevin Metzenheimer, they got to get into the backfield. Another guy we could see up front, and we just heard him on the Know Your Aggies feature, but Philip Paya. I wanted you to hear the story of him transferring here from Michigan and how Al Lapawahu and the Aggie coaching staff did a job in the portal.
Pretty much, I ended up graduating from the University of Michigan after 4 years there. A big part of that was just, my mom really wanted me to walk away from the University of Michigan, at least with my scholarship in hand, so that life after football for me is a lot better. But in terms of coming to Utah State, it was just an opportunity that pretty much just fell into my lap. A couple of days after being in the transfer portal, Coach Al and his staff reached out to me and, they were interested. So right away, probably for like my first couple of days, I built a really strong relationship with them and the defensive staff. So, creating that bond with them was really good for me. And, I kind of wanted to go somewhere that, that they really cared about their players. And I felt like this was the place for me. And that was a big decision.
Then, Philip, how has this group taken you group of transfers in like they have this year? How's that worked out?
It was actually a really big shock for me because as soon as I came in, these guys, they brought me in as one of their own immediately. Like I said, the atmosphere here at Utah State is actual real brotherhood. And, these guys take you in as one of their own immediately. Like, you don't have to prove yourself. You don't have to do anything. You just come in with a level head and, they'll accept you right away.
That's number 90 for the defense. Look for him today, Philip Paya up front. But the bottom line is San Diego State is not by far the best offensive team we face. So you can't let them get their big runs and keep the ball all day. Remember 38-7 last year in Maverick Stadium? And actually it was a close game at the half, Coach Brady Hoke.
It's a different team. In fact, both teams are different. And it's obviously year to year, things change, things get better. Sometimes they get worse. But I do remember how tight that game was at halftime. And then, we were fortunate to get away with a victory.
I think he's the third best rusher in the league, Greg Bell. He had 157 yards and a touchdown against the Aggies last year. San Diego State ran for 400 yards in Logan. We can't have any of that number today to be like that. Jordan Bird he's their kickoff returner on the first team all-conference. He had a 73-yard run in the game. And again, they had it for 37 minutes. So next, let's talk about leadership from Nick Henniger, of course, as we've been setting up. But the coach, again, got them going, and then the players took over. That's exactly what, of course, Henniger says why we've been successful.
The reason we have been successful, I think, is because we trust in each other. We trust in our coaches, and we trust in the process of our culture.
It is the 16th ever Utah State-San Diego State game today. They split the last two. Aztecs at one time had a 10-win win streak in the series. It's the 9th ever Mountain West Championship game, second for the Aggies. I think it's the third for the Aztecs, maybe the fourth. It's Game Day, brought to you by Alpine Home Medical, the premier one-stop shop home medical equipment company and service provider. 774-4500, or again, you can go on their webpage, alpinehomemedical.com. Game Day continues. Championship Aggie Game Day on KVNU.
My name is John Brenchley. Last year, my father, Lynn, passed away. Our family misses him tremendously. From the first phone call we made to White Pine Funeral Services until he was laid to rest, White Pine helped us every step of the way. The staff was there to guide us through the entire process. They were kind, gracious, and their facilities are amazing. White Pine helped to make the difficult situation of losing my dad into a positive experience where we could remember him and celebrate his life.
White Pine Funeral Services, here when you need us most.
The holidays bring family, friends, and parties and more. How important is it to you to know that your house is sparkling clean this holiday season? Trust ChemDry of Northern Utah's hot carbonating extraction process to ensure your home is the cleanest, healthiest environment for your family gatherings this season. From carpets to hardwood floors to furniture and even granite countertops for baking. This is Darryl with ChemDry of Northern Utah. Holiday gift certificates are now available, and mention this ad for a free ChemDry world famous spot cleaner.
ChemDry of Northern Utah. ChemDry of Northern Utah. 435-752-6100.
Wow, your cars look so shiny.
Thanks. I've been taking them to Green Gorilla Car Wash. Thanks to their new ceramic application, my cars have never had such a glossy shine.
Sounds expensive.
You haven't heard about their sale? Right now, their Jungle membership with ceramic coating is half off for every vehicle. Instead of $30 per month, I'm only paying $14.99 from now until September 2022.
That's almost a whole year.
I know. My half-price membership is good at both Green Gorilla locations in the valley.
I better head there now.
How often should you change the filter on your furnace? A lot of people are surprised when they find out that most filters are only good for 60 to 90 days. Some cheaper filters won't even last that long. If you buy a good quality filter, you should still have it checked or replaced every year. Doing this will make sure your furnace runs more efficiently and keep the air that you breathe cleaner. For a free consultation, call the Duct Hunter, 770-4813.
The Aggies are always number one here. It's KVNU Game Day with the voice of the Aggies, Al Lewis.
Huge challenge to find a way to beat a team is well built and well coached to San Diego State, but that's exactly what we're going to work to do this week.
Our man, Blake Anderson, again has won 2 Sun Belt titles in his coaching career, 2015, 2016, back-to-back. Now he goes for another today. This is his 21st season of coaching at the FBS level. He had 7 other years where he coaching in college football at lower divisions, but he has been offensive coordinator before at North Carolina, Southern Miss, Louisiana, and Middle Tennessee. And I thought you might be interested. How does he spend his typical week getting ready for the Aggies, especially around practice or around the building up there at the Stab and or in the Jim and Carol Lobb Athletic Complex? You'd think he'd probably lean more to the defensive side with the offensive coordinator there, Anthony Tucker.
I kind of bounce around. My background is offense, but the good thing about that is it allows me to spend maybe less time and have shorter conversations with the offense because we're on the same page. So we can talk at the water cooler and get a lot done in 5 minutes, where if it's a defensive conversation, it takes me a little bit longer to make sure I'm on the same page with those guys. Try to put my 2 cents in all 3 phases. I run the punt return, punt block team from ground up just to take that off of Nick and also give inputs on all the other 3 phases. and then we'll watch some tape and answer questions for the defense, probably from an offensive perspective more than anything, but I think it does help give them a perspective of how or where we might be vulnerable. I try to trust my coaches and let them do their jobs and help where I can, if that makes sense.
He mentioned Nick Peremski, who is the special teams coordinator, coaches outside linebackers too. He from Bondo, of course, is the defensive coordinator, and we mentioned offensive coordinator Anthony Tucker. In fact, he and Mike Zimmerman, the inside linebacker coach, are really the only main coaches that are in the press box. The rest are on the sideline for this game today. Also in our feature segment of today's championship game day with the Aggies for the Mountain West Championship with San Diego State, again, 1 o'clock on Fox 13. A spokesman for the whole team the past couple of weeks, it just seems like, has been the two-time graduate defensive end, Nick Henniger. He and Devin Tompkins probably are the biggest leaders this Aggie team has. I loved what Nick said this week when we talked a little bit about this situation. Again, Nick Henniger was saying basically, again, he's a reader, a studier, a thinker, and he told us this.
I would say very motivated, right? I've been talking with my wife recently, just as the season's come to an end, and I'm just like asking her and talking, thinking about how can I leave an example or a legacy for these young men, because some of them are my age, some of them are much younger. They call me grandpa, but I truly think of how this team can have continued success even after this senior group is gone. And I really just love this group of guys. They buy in, and that's all you can ask for. When a group buys in to the process and just getting 1 degree better each day, it makes everybody's job easier. You can ask Coach Anderson. His job is easier when the players buy in. And it's easy to buy in when you got coaches that you respect and trust and love. And it's just great. I love my teammates, and I'm so happy for them.
Last week, they traveled to Albuquerque to play that last game against New Mexico on Thanksgiving Day. And when they got there, they had a Thanksgiving meal, it sounded like. And in a defensive meeting, as they had to beat New Mexico, of course, and hope Aztecs would beat Boise State to get here, and they did. It was Nick Henniger who said this, and it's kind of interesting.
I said, I'm thankful for adversity because last year, there was a lot of adversity, and even this year has been a lot of adversity. But I told him that even though we'd lost all those games, I don't think I usually cry during most wins. But when we beat New Mexico last year, 1 win on the season, I remember just crying tears of joy. Like, it just feels so good to win. You put so many hours in as a team, and for the team to get a win at the end last year. And I just told him, even coming into this year with the adversity we've gone through, and the reason we have been successful, I think, is because we trust in each other, we trust in our coaches, and we trust in the process of our culture. And our culture has really propelled us forward to work through the adversity, because it's always going to be there. But it does feel great. The job is not done, but there's no need to not accept what you're feeling right now, and it feels great.
Now, he continues talking about the core and the people who, of course, have made a lot of 1 and 5 lemons of last year into 9 and 3, and we're hoping today's title game is kind of a real sweet taste of lemonade coming on.
There are no bad teams, only bad leaders. And he took a team, and he demonstrated great leadership, and the team bought in. The team has taken on this team as a player-led team as well, with his direction, and it's been awesome. It's been awesome to see the growth of the players going with the adversity that we went through last year on and off the field. We really stuck together, and
this comes from a motivated guy, an academic All-American, one of the first, one of only 8 we've ever had, and the first one in 9 years at Utah State. Married in the offseason. He had ankle surgery to even be a better 6th-year college player. 2 degrees. He's going to drone school right now at Utah State this year, as he talked about. But a football guy who, of course, has enough in his ability and how hard he plays and how great he is around the team to show that maybe somebody in the NFL might be interested in him in the future. But he said this about what a title today would mean to him, and he's thought a lot about this.
At the end of the day, I've been thinking, like, would I rather win a Mountain West championship this year with this team, or would I rather play in the NFL? And the NFL has always been a huge dream of mine. but just knowing what this team has come through, what we've gone through as a team, I can say that for me right now, winning this championship game is the highest goal on my list personally, and I believe that's true for this team.
How about that, Nick Henniger? Again, he's definitely an interesting guy for sure. One of my all-time faves to cover down through the years of the Aggies. The foot of college football. Let's talk about Matt Ariza coming up next from San Diego State and the challenge of the Aggie offense against this really great San Diego State defense. Coach Hoke does say this about Logan Bonner.
Quarterback, I think, is Logan is as tough as any guy I've seen.
I think he's seen all the game film with him coming back after getting hit on a play before. Riverwoods Conference Center. Again, they've got Elements Restaurant. It's a great spot. They can do catering for your events, and, of course, you can have the events right down there for the holiday season. Again, it's Riverwoods Conference Center, South Main and Logan, and Elements Restaurant that bring you game day on KVNU.
As we head into this wonderful time of year, Ascent Aesthetics says thanks, Cache Valley, for your warm welcome. Ascent Aesthetics has loved getting to know you and how to help with Botox, fillers, microneedling, laser hair removal, medical-grade facials, or skincare. Remember, the perfect gift this year is a beautiful you. Let the Ascent team help you feel confident, beautiful, and refreshed. Give the perfect gift this year, a treatment from Ascent Aesthetics. Learn more at AscentAesthetics.com. That's AscentAesthetics.com.
Steven, stop dragging your feet. Don't you give me that look. You've had a bad attitude all day. Now, look, I know you'd rather be with your friends right now, but this has to be done, and either you start cooperating or I'm going to start taking things away from you. And I think you know what that means, don't you, Steven?
Yes, honey, I do.
All right.
Okay.
Watch it.
Bigger isn't always better. At Cast-A-Lite, you'll choose from a huge selection of pavers and receive help from experts. You'll see just how easy it is to do it yourself. For brick, block, rock, paver, and tile, go where the pros go. Online at castalite.com.
This is Dave Simmons for Les Olson Company. Every great team knows that you have to train to stay on top of your game. Even top players continue to practice the fundamentals. That's why Les Olson Company offers free IT security awareness training so your business can stop threats before they become a problem. Learn what to do in case of a suspected phishing attack. Don't take risks. Take action with the Les Olson Security Suite. Get your free network assessment at lesolson.com.
Cache Valley Bank's newest branch is now open in Preston. I'm Lance Zollinger, and I'm excited to announce Cache Valley Bank is now open inside Stokes Marketplace. If you're an existing customer, you'll love the convenience. If you're not a customer, we'd love to have you open a new account with us, or even talk with us about a loan for your farm or business. Cache Valley Bank, a community bank where decisions are still made locally, now open in Preston. Cache Valley Bank, member FDIC.
The station for Aggie Sports. News Talk KVNU, 102 FM at 610 AM.
Yeah, it looks a lot like what we just faced. They do some other different things, and they're very talented. One of the best defenses we'll play all year. So we have a lot of respect for them, and they do a lot of things that New Mexico did. Obviously, we just played what you just said. So I think that it'll be a tremendous challenge, and we're looking forward to it.
Logan Bonner, he threw for 5 touchdowns, tying the school record in that win against New Mexico last week. The Lobos system on defense, which is now run by Rocky Long. And you can tell, again, it's kind of the system they have at San Diego State, but not with the same athletes, obviously. But maybe that could help the Aggies to have played New Mexico, like we said last week, to get Logan Bonner and the team going. But this new San Diego State coach who came to San Diego to work with Long as a coordinator, Brady Hoke, gave us some big feelings on the Aggies. And you can tell he was coach of the year, but he knows, again, maybe what should have happened.
Congratulations to Blake and his crew. You're talking about a very explosive football team. They got a great football team and we know how hard it is to get to this position. And I know he does, and he's done a great job. We got a heck of a challenge coming up with playing a team like Utah State. They really, from an offensive point of view, they score a lot of points. I think they've done a great job. They've got some awfully good football players when you look at their skill position. They've got an older offensive line, more established offensive line. Quarterback, I think, is Logan is as tough as any guy I've seen on film. And defensively, they create a lot of havoc and chaos. And when you watch what they do defensively, and being a defensive guy, I've got a lot of respect for it. The number of tackles for loss that they've had is really something, we'd be very proud of.
So they'd be very proud of that. Again, we're talking now about the big key today. Can USU, to have a chance in this game, go up against the very good Aztec defense under Hoke, who, again, as we mentioned before, has been the head coach at Michigan, Ball State, was at San Diego State before as head coach. We have to score explosively or figure a way that a lot of other teams have tried to do it this year. And as Craig pointed out, everybody doesn't get their average offensively. Remember, Utah lost to this team 33-31. Now, that was early, and they had the other quarterback. I know the argument, all that. Utes playing great with that win last night. But, again, they're number 5 overall in the NCAA in defense, number 6 against the score, number 3 in rushing yards allowed, number 1 in giving up rushing touchdowns, and they're number 9 in pass efficiency. So it is quite a defense against Coach Hoke's defense. It always seems to be on.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I think they've been very consistent. I think they've played well together. I think there's been a few times where, we've given up too many big plays. I think if anything, there's, the Fresno game obviously is a game that we lost. We gave up too many big plays and we didn't get off the field. But overall, I think they've counted on each other. I think our defensive front, our front 7, front 6, if you want to say it that way, I think they played well together. There's some experience there of a group that's played together for 2 years.
Ken, that's that 3-3-5 alignment like we saw against New Mexico last week that Rocky Long put in. You're saying we got a chance? You've given up some explosive plays. Let's hope it happens for the Aggies today. Coach Anderson agrees that this is a special defensive team, not only, again, the way they play, but the athletes they've got.
To me, what you see, and this is pretty much across the board for them, you see length combined with speed. They are built very well, and then they take a similar approach defensively that we just saw with Rocky Long. They allow for a lot of movement, and you just see that free style of play with length and speed. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. They're really good at it. And
number 99, their defensive end, Cameron Thomas, was the player of the year defensively. He's been outstanding. He actually has played the Aggies before.
Yeah, just like us. They weren't preseason. They weren't ranked the highest. But when you watch that film, they pop on film. They have very good players, starting with their quarterback, Bonner. He's a very athletic, very tough quarterback. The running back, Tyler, very solid running back. And then they have a very strong receiving core with Tompkins that just was also named first team. Their offensive line, they're a mature group. They have a few seniors on there. Several of them I played against, over the couple last years, and it's going to be a really exciting matchup.
So 19 we won there, 20 they won here in those matchups that Thomas is in before. I asked, Brady Hoke said that Bonner's as tough a guy as he's seen. I asked him to talk more about the Logan Bonner, the Aggie quarterback.
Yeah, well, number one, I think he's pretty daggone accurate. You look at his accuracy with the football, and that's with all throws. And so that part of it, I think he does a great job as a leader. Exactly what you want when you look at your leader on offense. And if you're an offensive lineman, you're a wide receiver, you can just see the leadership that he has. And I believe me, we've had some really good quarterbacks in this league this year. And he doesn't take a back seat to any of them.
Yep, he has started every single game with the one today. Craig mentioned earlier, 1 touchdown away from the all-time record for touchdown passes in a year. 15 starts he had, 24 games under Coach Anderson at Arkansas State. Now, he went to the Sun Belt. Now he's come to the Mountain West. What about differences?
Well, first of all, you got teams that are on the verge of top 25. We got 3 or 4 teams that are in the mix every week to be ranked, and that's just never really happened in the Sun Belt. We have some really good teams in Sun Belt, but this whole conference is so physical. and the quality of play. I mean, obviously you see every year you have numerous people get drafted first 3 or 4 rounds and in this conference because of the high quality of players that are in it. So I think that it was known from me since I was a freshman when we played up here in 2016. We lost, but I was like, wow, this conference is special, and this place is special. So I've always noticed. I've always when I had the opportunity to come here, I was like, no brainer.
See, that's what he talked about when Arkansas State even visited the Aggies. So San Diego State has as their formula for winning turnover margin and field position. And with the punter kicker, they've got a Matt Ariza, field positions taken care of. So this Aztec defense, they've had the most interceptions in college football the last 7 years running. And you know what's interesting? They themselves are second fewest in throwing interceptions. Now, they don't throw a lot, but there's a reason for that, obviously. Coach Anderson now fills us in on, again, those back 5 guys that Coach Hoke was saying are in the secondary.
They have size in the back end. So, we're going to have to do a great job of maneuvering and running crisp routes and using quickness and space and speed to try to gain an advantage. And honestly, on paper, there may not be an advantage of any kind in this particular game for us, but that's not an environment we're that uncomfortable in. We've been in that pretty much all year, and guys have thrived in it. So hopefully we'll do the same again this week.
Main guy back in the backfield, as Craig mentioned, Patrick McMorris, number 33, their main guy. But the all-conference player of the year on the defensive front, up front, again, there were 3 other guys on defensive MVP, but the defensive MVP is, again, this Cameron Thomas. What about him, Coach Brady Hoke, that makes him good?
Being a defensive line coach and still working with the D-line, watching his progress, and he is such a self-motivated guy. He absolutely, he's the last one off the field, first one on the field, always trying to get better and trying to learn.
So he's the player of the year. The other player of the year was the special teams player, Matt Ariza. What a weapon he's in. Again, he has a chance at the national record ever for the most punt yard average in history.
I want to win the championship this year. I want a ring. I want all of my fellow brothers to get a ring. So that's my main concern. Obviously, me playing good in that game will maybe help towards that record. But as far as what I'm thinking about right now, it's all about the game on Saturday.
Again, game day, always. We have our S.A. Needham Jewelers starting lineup, the state's oldest jewelry store. And Henniger, Marcus Moore, Motua Pawaka, Vaughn's up front. But, again, Joyner can help. Bannerman can help. Paya can help. Vatu'auta could help. We could see all those guys. Von Pachong, Metzenheimer, and Rice at linebacker. Gilliam and Carter at that striker spot. And Yanwu and Zahadri Jackson play a little bit better. We've got Lampkin and Grayson. And, of course, the safeties now seem to be Shaq Bond and Hunter. We hope they're okay after injuries last week. Bonner at quarterback. Calvin Tyler running back. Derek Wright, Justin McGriff outside. Tompkins and Bowling inside. Edwards, Aliafua, Dimitrix played more Aggie games than anybody ever. Chandler Dolphin, Quazell White, and Cole Motes look like the starters. It doesn't look like South will go the rest of the season. That's your S.C. Needham Jewelers starting lineup. The state's oldest jewelry store, and great gifts are available, and the best in diamond engagement rings for Christmas. Game day continues on KVNU Saturday. It's championship game day.
West Point Dairy Products at Hiram is hiring. West Point Dairy Products has been manufacturing high-quality butter for over 25 years in Cache Valley. They're currently expanding and want you on their growing team. West Point Dairy Products offers competitive wages for entry-level positions starting at $18 per hour, full benefit packages, double time on Sundays, a $2,000 sign-on bonus, and tremendous opportunities for growth. For immediate consideration, call Express Employment Professionals at 435-213-9595.
Experts tell us that the 3 areas of balance for proper health are exercise, nutrition, and sleep. This is Ryan, owner of My Mattress, and while My Mattress store can't really help with exercise and nutrition, we can help with better sleep. If a person started today to live a balanced life in health, exercise, and sleep, 3 things might happen. 1, we might throw away the bag of peanut M&Ms that we have stashed. 2, we might get up off the couch and exercise. And 3, we'd come buy a new mattress here at My Mattress.
The Riverwoods Conference Center is accepting reservations for holiday parties and events.
Inviting you to experience an elegant holiday atmosphere, the Riverwoods Conference Center's beautiful new renovation is complete with new carpet, paint, furniture, and decor. And as always, with catering from Elements, your holiday event will be amazing with delicious entrees and decadent desserts that always deliver excellence. Whether it's a company or family event, it will be festive, beautiful, and scrumptious at the Riverwoods, catered by Elements. For reservations, phone 750-5151, 750-5151.
Cold weather is here. Let the gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah's Fireplace category help you update your home with Heat and Glow's full line of gas or wood-burning products. Building a new home? Let the professionals at Advanced Fireplace and Stove design and install your fireplace. From traditional to modern, Heat and Glow has something for every design and every budget. Install a product that will allow your family to make memories for years to come. Stop by at their showroom or visit them at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
He has shown the ability to punt out of his own end zone and pin you inside the 10. That's a weapon that not many have. They've utilized him field goal, kick the ball out of the end zone. We'd be shocked if Scarborough gets a chance to return a ball this week.
Again, that is head coach Blake Anderson on the weapon. We're talking about the foot of Matt Ariza. Now, last night, Utah 38, Oregon 10. They wrapped up the Rose Bowl. They won the Pac-10 title. I think that was a tremendous performance. They just leveled Oregon twice. Kyle Whittingham deserves that. Utah deserves that. The state, again, what a year we've had with football, like winning at BYU, Utah, and now with the Aggies having a chance today. But I just want to point this out. Back on September 18th, Matt Ariza gave up an 80-yard punt return to Britton Covey of Utah, and that was the only one he gave up this year. It was a 9-punt day for him, as the Aztecs only had 248 yards against the Utes. But after punt number 1, Ariza was booming them, and Covey, who is so good and the feisty, competitive guy he is, told the San Diego State kicker to give him another one. Let him try to take it home again. Well, the two obviously were talking and going after each other, a little animated in the game.
It was pretty heated, so I don't remember everything. I remember him saying, come back and try that again. You can kind of see it on the film. He's waving his hands like, come on. So I was definitely happy to go out and tackle him again later in the game.
And then did you have any response on that second tackle for him?
No, the refs were really honest, so I kept my mouth shut because I don't want any penalties. Didn't want to move the line of scrimmage at all.
I love that story again. After he'd given up a kickoff return, okay, then let's. He tackled him on the play. Let's do it, and he did that often with those long punts. Ariza, again, they did win the game. In the second overtime, he missed a field goal, but then they won it in the third overtime, making their 2-point play. And Utah, of course, went for that too, but it was ruled no catch by review, 33-31. When you have this great defense, Utah had 70 yards rushing in the game and only 327 yards in regulation overtime. You can live up to an up-and-down offense like San Diego State has when the Aztecs, of course, have this kind of weapon. Ariza has kicked 50, 60, 70. He averages 51. He's kicked this kind of punts all year, even 80 yards. What a weapon, Coach.
Because of what Matt has done in all three phases. You look at what he's done in kickoffs and touchbacks. He's done an unbelievable job. You look at, changing the field in the punt game. And that comes from his hard work. And he's a guy that competes in everything that we do around here to make us better. And he real proud of how he's handled himself.
51.5 is his average, best ever so far in college football. He's 24 kicks longer than 60 this year. 20 of his 74 kickoffs, have only been, or his kicks have been returned. Covey has the only touchdown. Plus, he is 15 for 24 on field goals, had a log of 53. He's just 6 for 14, again, in 40 or longer, though. 64 kickoffs. Like Coach said, we don't expect Scarborough to get much. 53 touchbacks. They have Jordan Bird on the other side, who's 7.2 as a punt returner, 29.4 kickoff returner with a touchdown. He was this kick return all-conference guy. ESPN says with Ariza, they have the number 2 special teams in the country. You got to remember, they've also blocked 3 punts this year. That's number 5 in the nation. Hoke is saying Ariza is the main man on the team. But as you heard, again, about his work ethic, Ariza says this about his coach, Brady Hoke.
Coach Hoke's a phenomenal coach and a great man, and he's been a great role model to all of us. Being a head coach is more than just making play calls and making decisions on game day. It's about, kind of being a father figure or a role model to a large group of guys, and he's done a fantastic job at both.
Again, that's Matt Ariza, the kicker today. Next, how did we even get here? 1-5 last year, new coach, nobody expected it, maybe a few in that lob building at the north end of Merton Olsen Field. The coach.
On paper, there may not be an advantage of any kind in this particular game for us.
But the Aggies are going to play. 1 o'clock kickoff on Fox coming up here, top of the hour on Channel 13, 9th ever Mountain West Championship game. Our championship game day continues on KVNU, and we will be right back after this break.
Hi, this is Bob Larson with LSS Insurance. Are you confused by TV commercials telling you all that you're missing from your Medicare coverage? These national ads are offered by people you will never hear from again and are only interested in selling you something. Let us answer your questions and show you in detail your Medicare options. We're your local agent, here to help throughout the year. Please call 752-9493. Why not take advantage of every benefit available? Come see us or call 752-9493.
Advanced Heating and AC, the gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah, is teaming up with Carrier Heating and Cooling. Carrier provides you with the best furnace units available. And now is the best time to buy a new unit before the weather turns Cache Valley cold. Financing options are available. Turn to the experts at Advanced Heating and AC and Carrier. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning at 752-7272. Stop by at their showroom west of DI. Online, advancedheating-ac.com.
Old McDarrell has a farm and appliance farm.
This is Jay with Daryl's Appliance. Why do Santa and Mrs. Claus shop at Daryl's Appliance? It's easy. Daryl's has the best discounts on Whirlpool, Maytag, and KitchenAid laundry and kitchen appliances. Get the best price guaranteed. Don't forget our no-risk warranty and feel the Daryl's difference because service always comes first. Daryl's West on Airport Road, open until 6 p.m. on weekdays, 5 on Saturday.
See Daryl's Appliance in beautiful downtown Benson.
'Tis the season, and if you're getting engaged, bring that special someone to S.E. Needham Jewelers. You'll love our extensive selection of beautiful engagement rings. Also, you'll select a diamond from Utah's largest selection of loose diamonds. You'll find a unique ring at an affordable price with diamonds direct from Antwerp, Belgium at internet pricing. It just doesn't get better. And you may also take advantage of our 12-month interest-free financing. Open Monday through Saturday, 10 to 7, where Utah gets engaged. S.E. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
The clock is ticking and Aggie football is getting closer. It's KVNU Game Day.
There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief.
Well, I mean, I look at it every week. I try to keep my head focused on one game at a time. So, I mean, if we won 5, then I mean, it feel good. But we want to know every week is like the biggest cheeseburger to me.
Biggest cheeseburger to him are wins. So how about a championship today? A filet mignon, I would have to think, right? A Johnny Carter of the Aggies, striker for the Aggies along with Cash Gilliam. Both Cash and Johnny among the 46 returning lettermen to the program for this year. This portion of Game Day brought to you by White Pine Funeral Services. Again, help with affordable, high-quality services, headstones, pre-planning, and more. You're there. They are there when you need them the most. White Pine Funeral Services, whitepinefunerals.com as we wind this down towards the 1 o'clock kickoff coming up on Fox. The number of, 13 four-year transfers to fill in the void for new coach Blake Anderson and his staff. Strength and conditioning coordinator Paul Jackson got them first in January to have a rebound season of Utah State football, and it was started then. Aggies headed now for their 9th bowl game in 11 years, and no matter what, today they get a bowl game, but they'd love to win and get to the Jimmy Kimmel Los Angeles Bowl as the Mountain West champion. But just feel all of the fall camp, and even before that Washington State opener, that here's Coach Anderson seeing a victory in Game 1 that a lot of us maybe didn't see.
Well, I felt like we were definitely trending in the right direction. Their capacity to work, their willingness to be unselfish, their the willingness of the veteran guys that were already here to buy into what we were asking them to do some things that were kind of out of the ordinary, out of the box, uncomfortable for them. I thought we were moving in the right direction offensively with what we do and the few pieces we brought in with the pieces that were already here. You felt like we had a chance to give people kind of some problems. Defensively, the pieces that we added to the puzzle clearly had made a difference as well. So we obviously had to go out on the field and do that, but I did I did feel like we were moving in the right direction. Now, how quickly it would translate to the field, you never absolutely know. I just felt like Washington State was a good matchup for us, that it was a game that was winnable because of the style of play and the way I thought the game would go. And it turned out to go really honestly exactly how I expected it might. And we were able to outlast them late. So a lot of that was, there's a lot of factors playing into that going into that game.
But it catapulted them to where they are. The goal always been 1% better every day. And then when game week comes out, it's 1-0 mentality. And now today you can throw that all out. You got to win one, you win a championship.
I think this group has done a phenomenal job of staying very, very focused on just one day, 1 week at a time. I think it's been refreshing to them to some degree. It took the pressure off, at least for a part of the season, just where we could just focus on being the best we could be every week.
Still, Coach, you walk into this situation, and now 9-3 and in the championship game of the conference. Do you expect to really be here this early?
No, never really considered it. I think this group has done a phenomenal job of staying very, very focused on just one day, 1 week at a time. I think.
Again, they've done that again, and they expect to get that done again. Logan Bonner's been the quarterback, and, of course, that's been huge. And he's consistent at always making big plays and getting, again, up off the turf. Probably hit more or harder than anybody this year. Coach, on his year?
Well, you look at 30-plus touchdowns and 10 or less interceptions. That's normally, you want a 3-to-1 ratio there. That's something that's important to us in this system. Well, the amount of times we put the ball in the air, it kind of starts there. You've seen him get better and more comfortable as the season's progressed. But, knowing he can and it actually being done are two different things. So you got to give him a ton of credit, just kind of sticking with it and being patient and working through the system. He's gotten up off the turf a lot. We'd like to keep him upright this week, but we've got some really good defensive fronts in this league, and he's gotten hit way more than we want him to. You got to give him a tremendous amount of credit for being as tough and as resilient as he is. He's turned the ball over at times. He comes right back and makes the big play. He's gotten hit. He scrapes himself up off the turf, continues to play when his body's beat up. So it's hard to really even say enough about just how he's battled all season long. We're going to need him to do it again this week.
Again, he told us on Monday that he is fine and going to play. He told the coach leaving the New Mexico field he's fine, he's going to play. It's quite a story. And he talked a little bit about, thinking the conference situation. But again, from the start, he came in here in an interesting situation. Again, with the former coaching staff, who know him, at least a lot of the guys, quite a bit. Again, we had Andrew Peasley back from last year. He didn't get to compete for a while, but he tells the whole story of this year and where it's led to the championship game today.
Yeah, it's an honor. I mean, I'm trying to do everything I can for this team. Coming in, I was a little nervous. I never transferred. Didn't know how they would perceive me or stuff like that. And so I didn't do much. For many people, I broke my foot second week here. So I didn't participate in one workout until the end of summer. So I wanted to be in that leadership role, and being on my sidelines is a lot harder to do when you don't know these guys. And so I had to come up with other ways to slowly work my way into a leadership role. And I think they opened me with open arms and stuff like that. So it was tough at first, just the circumstances and new school, new teammates, and then not being able to do anything with them. It's easy to say something when you're sitting on the sidelines on a scooter. So I didn't want to be that guy. I didn't want to do anything. So I kept my mouth shut, did everything I needed to do. And then when my time to get back on the field with the guys, I was going to prove to them that I was a leader. I didn't say anything. I wasn't going to talk. I was just going to prove it to them. I feel like I've done that.
I think more than that, he has proved to all of us that he's one tough leader, a guy the team looks up to, has to be inspired by. 5 touchdowns did tie the school record. Again, it's been done 10 previous times. And I think at least once or twice it was Chucky Keaton who got that, who's now on the sidelines as the running back coach. Logan Bonner, you throw 5. Did Chucky Keaton want to tell you anything after you did that against New Mexico?
Yeah, he did. As soon as I threw the 5th one, he came up to me and said, "Welcome to the club." And he was like, "I might have to get in your head a little bit. I don't want you to break it." But it was funny. It was a good moment between me and him. I got into 4 a couple times this year, and he's like, "Come on now, let's get the 5." And it just didn't work out that way. But we had a good laugh about it.
And again, one touchdown pass away from breaking Jordan Love's record. And it's interesting. We talk about Aggies have got to have some running game to take the pressure off Bonner getting pressured all the time in the passing game and all. He does have, again, Calvin Tyler Jr., who I think is 9th in the conference in rushing this year. Bell, their running back, is 4th. But 723 yards, at least more healthy right now than he has been. Logan?
Yeah, anytime you get this type of year and deep in the end, you're playing for something every game, it's health is always a huge issue. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's banged up. Everybody we play is going to be banged up. So it's the war of attrition. And I think that we're doing a really good job in the running back room. And it's always great to have those guys back there. And I think they're doing a great job.
So Calvin Tyler Jr. is ready to go about as much as he has all year. We only have 2 running backs in our conference that ran for over 1,000 yards in a full season this year. That Brad Roberts at Air Force just barely beat out Charles Williams of UNLV for the rushing title this year. And I thought Brent Brennan, the coach at San Jose State, had something really interesting to say. Look down through the things. This year, college football has not had, the big dominant running backs. I mean, Air Force is still leading things, and they had the big game against the Aggies, but they haven't always been there with their big running attack. And Coach Brennan had an interesting thought about why maybe this year in college football we have not seen that, especially when it gets to conference play where guys have not. Williams had a big game against us, and but he had a couple of smaller games against some other teams.
Because everybody got another year, and in this conference, most of those players chose to come back and be a part of the great game of college football. So, I think that's why you're seeing those numbers the way they are. The more mature those guys are, the more they've seen, the more experience they have, the better chance they have to fit a run play properly, to be in the right gap. They're better tacklers. They've, I think all that stuff comes together to create that situation.
So more experience, getting bigger, knowing the system. They cut it down. Maybe it is a little harder to move the football against some teams than others. We've had a couple of wild scoring games, but some others closer. San Diego State certainly won close games with their defense, and that's the big deal today going into this game, Coach.
I think the only position that we will have a size advantage would be McGriff on the field. Everywhere else, we're going to be giving up length out there as well. But I do think there's a quickness and speed factor that if we can protect well, maybe our quickness and speed in space might be one of our few advantages if we have any in this particular game.
Got to protect Bonner and not have him hurt badly. Cooper Legault looks like he's a backup with Peasley slamming that shoulder last week. Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning is one of our sponsors of Game Day. You can schedule service at their website, advancedheating-ac.com. You can call them 752-7272. It's Baylor 21, Oklahoma State now 16, so Oklahoma State coming back in that game. They've outscored them 10-0 second half. They just kicked a field goal to make it that 5-point game. They still have 8 minutes to play, and they've been stopping Baylor this half. The Baylor quarterback went 14 for 14, I know, at the start of the game. And Northern Illinois 31-10 over Kent State. Looks like they're going to win the Mid-American Conference Football Championship. That is in the fourth quarter. Isn't it ironic that we play San Diego State for the championship of the Mountain West in football? We have played them the last 3 years in basketball. It's been Utah State and San Diego State that have dominated this league the last 4 years with those things, like we said, going into this game. San Diego State has the best record against the Mountain teams since they've gone to 2 divisions in this league, 23-5. Aggies beat them once. Aggies are 21-7 against the Western teams. That's the best winning percentage since Utah State joined the league, and we've had divisions. So you got the 2 teams that have beaten the other side more. Aggies are 1-3 since joining this conference against San Diego State. And overall, you throw out Boise State's record, and these are the 2 and 3, number 2, number 3 teams in Mountain West winning percentage coming into this game. The Aggies are playing a 19th rated team, both in the college football rankings and the overall rankings. The Aggies at one time were 1-54 against AP top 20 or top 25 teams. They've now won 4 of the last 13 times. Last time they beat a team this highly ranked was when they beat BYU down in Provo a couple of years back. So, again, here we go for this championship game today. Again, Brady Hoke is the head coach at San Diego State. And this time around, I think this is his second year after Rocky Long gave it up, but he was with them before. He has been at Ball State 6 years, Michigan 4 years, has been around a lot of winning. Western Michigan, Toledo, Ohio, Michigan, Oregon, Tennessee. He was actually the interim coach at Tennessee for a couple of games as head coach at one time. Defensive line coach in 2019. at San Diego State as he came back, and then, of course, has been at San Diego State here the last little while. He was at Michigan, of course, after he was the successful coach to start with at San Diego State after he'd been at Ball State before that. So they got a really good defense and an offense that can be a little streaky. Let's hope, of course, Aggies can find a way to take advantage of that at Dignity Health Sports Park, 27,000-seat home of the LA Galaxy. They've averaged around 12,000. They figure, obviously, they get more than that and more people will be interested. The Aggies have a 4-0 record in one-score games. San Diego State has the best record, as Craig pointed out, in one-score games in college football this year. They're 6-0. They've gone 9-2 in their games in this stadium since it's been their home field. And you know, the Aggies have not lost a road game, so technically a road game, because this has been where San Diego State has played the last 2 years. So after the game's over, we will be here immediately. The game's on Fox 13 here at 1 o'clock. And after the game's over, we'll be here. And Eric Frandsen, we're hoping Ryan Bowman can maybe join with us. But we'd love you to join with us. We'll have a text line available. We will have, again, our phone lines available. And you can talk Aggie football. And again, hoping for the Kimmel Los Angeles Bowl. The winner of this game gets that from the Mountain West Conference. So we'll be here right after the game. So enjoy it on TV. Immediate when it's over. Turn on the radio again here on KVNU, and let's talk about it or text about it.
As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date. News Talk KVNU Logan, 102 FM, 610 AM, the voice of Northern